Two teenage best friends walked into a Friday night football game, laughing, smiling, and waving to classmates. They were supposed to be home before curfew, supposed to return with stories about touchdowns and teenage crushes. But they never came back. Their parents searched. Police searched. The whole town searched. And for 7 long years, the question haunted everyone. What happened to them after the game? Nobody expected the answer to come from the most unlikely place, a dusty school locker, ignored for years, hiding a secret that would turn the case upside down. Tonight, we're going to unravel one of the most chilling missing person stories you'll ever hear. The night two teenage best friends vanished without a trace, and the shocking discovery that brought the nightmare back to life. But before we dive in, if you love dark mysteries, unsolved disappearances, and true crime storytelling, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, let's begin. They were inseparable. Casey Miller was 16 years old, a bright, bubbly cheerleader with long blonde hair and a contagious laugh that everyone at Brookdale High recognized instantly. Her best friend, Jenna Brooks, also 16, was her opposite in many ways. Quiet, thoughtful, with dark brown hair that she often wore tied back, and a passion for photography. But together, they made the perfect pair. They grew up in the same neighborhood, walked to school together, and even planned to attend the same college one day. To their classmates, they were known as the twins, even though they weren't related. On the night of October 14th, 2016, Brookdale High was alive with energy. The bleachers overflowed with students, parents, and alumni cheering under the glow of stadium lights. It was the biggest football game of the season, and Casey and Jenna were right in the middle of it all. Friends recalled seeing them laughing in the student section, waving pom-poms, and taking selfies on Jenna's camera. Nothing seemed unusual until after the game ended. When the final whistle blew, the crowd spilled out into the parking lot. Parents texted their kids. Friends shouted goodbyes, and groups of students walked to their cars. Casey and Jenna were seen walking together toward the far end of the lot, where Casey's silver Honda Civic was parked. And then nothing. When Casey's parents woke up the next morning and realized she hadn't come home, they immediately panicked. At first, they thought maybe she had stayed the night at Jenna's house. But when they called Jenna's family, the same realization hit. Neither girl had come home at all. By noon that Saturday, both families had filed missing person reports. Police quickly searched the football stadium and surrounding parking lots. They found Casey's car still sitting where she had parked it the night before. The doors were locked. Inside, everything looked normal. Her cheer bag was in the back seat, her phone charger plugged in, and Jenna's camera case tossed on the floorboard. But there was one detail that stood out. Casey's phone was gone. Jenna's camera was gone. And so were the girls. The investigation began immediately. Detectives canvassed the stadium and parking lot, asking if anyone had seen the two girls after the game. Dozens of witnesses confirmed they had been together, heading toward the car. But no one could say where they went after that. Security cameras from nearby businesses were pulled. In one grainy video, a car could be seen pulling out of the stadium lot around the same time Casey and Jenna were last seen. But the footage was too blurry to identify the vehicle or its driver. For weeks, volunteers formed search parties, combing through woods, creeks, and abandoned buildings near town. Flyers with the girls' faces plastered telephone poles, store windows, and school hallways. Candlelight vigils were held. But the weeks turned into months, and the months into years. And with no new leads, the case eventually went cold. For the families, life was never the same. Casey's parents left her bedroom untouched, the bed still made with her favorite polka dot comforter. Jenna's father kept her camera lenses polished, refusing to believe she was truly gone. They waited, they prayed, and every year on October 14th, they held a small memorial at the football field, hoping that someone, somewhere, might know the truth. 7 years later, the answer finally came. It was an ordinary Tuesday afternoon at Brookdale High. A janitor named Earl Thompson, who had worked at the school for nearly 2 decades, was tasked with clearing out old lockers in a wing of the building set for renovation. Most of the lockers had been empty for years, dusty and forgotten. But when Earl came to locker number 319, he noticed something unusual. The lock was jammed, rusted in place. With some effort, he forced it open, and what he found inside stopped him cold. On the top shelf was a weathered manila envelope. Inside the envelope, neatly stacked, were dozens of printed photographs. Earl shuffled through them quickly at first, then froze as he realized what he was looking at. Every photo showed Casey and Jenna on the night they disappeared. The girls smiling in the bleachers. The girls walking toward the parking lot. The girls standing beside Casey's car. And the final picture, so blurry, yet so terrifying, showed the two girls standing beside a shadowy figure. Their faces caught mid-expression, half confused, half afraid. Earl dropped the photos and called the police immediately. When detectives examined the envelope, they found something else tucked beneath the photographs: Jenna's missing camera. The battery was long dead, but the memory card was still intact. For the first time in 7 years, investigators had fresh evidence. The images on the card matched the prints in the envelope, but there were more, pictures that no one had seen before. Some showed the girls outside the stadium after the game, illuminated by harsh streetlights. Others showed them in what looked like a dark basement. Sitting side by side, their expressions frightened but calm, as though someone had ordered them to pose. And the final image, the one that still haunts detectives, was a close-up of Jenna's hand pressed against what looked like a wooden wall. Carved into the wood, barely visible in the photo, were the words, "Help us." The discovery reignited the case overnight. News crews swarmed the high school. Former classmates, now in their 20s, were interviewed on camera, many breaking down in tears as the images resurfaced. Police tore through old evidence files, re-examining every lead, every witness statement, every scrap of video footage from that night. And with new technology, they enhanced the blurry parking lot video from 2016. This time, they could make out the car that had pulled away. It was an old, dark-colored sedan, and it matched a vehicle owned at the time by one of the school staff members, a man who had abruptly resigned just weeks after the girls disappeared. Detectives tracked him down, now living 2 states away. His name was Martin Hale, a former assistant coach at Brookdale High. When confronted with the photographs, Hale denied everything. He claimed he had left the school for personal reasons and knew nothing about Casey and Jenna's disappearance. But investigators weren't convinced. Forensic teams analyzed the locker where the photos were found, and on the inside of the door, they uncovered fingerprints. They belonged to Hale. For the families, the discovery brought back a tidal wave of emotions. On one hand, there was relief that the case wasn't forgotten, that answers might finally come. On the other, there was horror at the images, horror at what the girls must have endured, and horror at the realization that someone they trusted may have been responsible all along. Casey's mother spoke to the media through tears. "We always told them the school was a safe place, but it wasn't. It wasn't safe at all." To this day, the case remains one of the most disturbing unsolved disappearances in Brookdale's history. While evidence points to Martin Hale, no bodies have ever been recovered. He has not been convicted, and the investigation is ongoing. But the photographs in locker 319 remain a haunting reminder that sometimes the darkest secrets aren't buried far away. They're hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be uncovered. If this story gave you chills, make sure to subscribe for more mysteries like this one. And let me know in the comments, what do you think happened to Casey and Jenna that night? Because one thing is certain, somewhere out there, someone knows the truth. And until that truth is revealed, the shadows of Brookdale High will never rest.